Jacob L. Adams Elementary School sits along South Laburnum Avenue in eastern Henrico County. Since opening in 1967, the red brick school has served thousands of children and produced countless smiles. Surely the country dentist for whom the school is named would be pleased. Jacob Lou Adams was born nearby in Hanover County on November 25, 1909. His parents, John and Nanny Adams, had 7 children. Jacob was the youngest. Like his 3 brothers and 3 sisters, Jacob always had plenty to do tending to the family farm on Cold Harbor Road.
I know coming up, he was telling me it was very difficult working on a farm. They'd be up early in the morning and they'd do chores before they went to school, and they'd go to school, and then after coming home, they'd have more chores to do, and then, of course, they'd study at night, and it was difficult work.
As he matured, Jacob began to see a future for himself away from the farm. He dreamed of finishing Washington Henry High, going to medical school, and learning to be a dentist.
When he was living on the farm growing up, he worked on the farm and decided that he didn't want to be a farmer. And as a young teenager, he wanted to be a dentist and always knew he wanted to be a dentist. During the time when he was growing up, there weren't many dentists in the area, and that's probably one reason that he wanted to be a dentist, because people in the country didn't get a chance to go to the dentist.
He wanted to get a college education and wanted to get away from the farm, and I'm not sure exactly what encouraged him to go into dentistry, but that's the profession that he sought.
Going to college was no simple notion. Jacob understood it would require dedication and sacrifice.
He talked to his father and asked his father if he would help him, get through college and get through dental school, that he would exchange that for any inheritance that he might get. And of course, inheritance would probably be a part of the farm, I guess. And so his father did help him through college.
They understood that this is what he wanted to do, and they were fine with it. But he was just thankful to have the opportunity to go to school and to be able to get an education.
In 1928, Jacob enrolled in the University of Richmond. As required, he finished a year of undergraduate studies before entering dental school at the Medical College of Virginia. He graduated in 1933. While he was a student, Jacob met an elementary teacher from Hanover, Lillian Corinne Pollard. The couple eventually married on June 8, 1935, at their pastor's home in Hanover.
Both of our parents grew up in Hanover County, and he grew up in the Cold Harbor area, and she in the Beaver Dam area. That's how they got to know each other, because she was teaching not far from where he lived.
The young couple celebrated the births of their daughter Nancy in 1939 and son Jake in 1941. Between those occasions, the couple left Hanover and settled on South Holly Avenue in the Highland Springs area of Henrico.
When you go where there's a need, and there was a need for a dentist here, so he came to this area.
Highland Springs was a very small community. In fact, back at that time, I felt like I knew 90% of the people there. And of course, today it's grown up, and I know very few people there. But Dad I think there was one other dentist there when Dad took his practice there, and I think it was in the late 1930s, but again, it was a small rural community, and the people, I think they appreciated Dad coming into the community. They needed another dentist, and Dad did a real good job.
Dr. Adams built his dental practice from an office on Holly Avenue, a few blocks from his home. He demonstrated great loyalty to his patients, and they returned the sentiment in kind.
My father, he wasn't the typical dentist that you have today. He really was concerned with his patients, and I know on a lot of occasions they'd call him, sometimes even like at 1 or 2 o'clock at night if somebody had a toothache, and Dad he'd put his clothes on and say, well, meet me at the office in about 15 minutes, and he'd come on over and work on them, and he was really concerned, and people really appreciated that. They really respected my father.
In the summer, we always had a vacation. We'd take a trip somewhere fun, and we'd be all packed, ready to go, and he'd get a phone call. Somebody had a dental problem, and so he would go immediately and meet them at the office and work on the situation. And we were young, and we'd sit at home and wait and think, oh, Dad's never coming back. When are we going to go? But it was important to him to make sure that he didn't want to leave somebody with a problem. When World War II began, there was a chance that our father would have to go into the military, and when some of his patients heard about this, they started a petition and signed the petition to have him deferred so they would have a dentist in the area. He never was drafted. It didn't work out so that he was, but he appreciated what they did.
Dr. Adams provided dental care for his patients as well as his extended family. Access to these professional services was a far cry from what it is today.
Dad, he loved his brothers and sisters, and he would do anything in the world for them. And I know my uncle told me one time that Dad would take care of all the family and wouldn't charge them a dime. And that was one way I think he kind of repaid him for the fact that he got a college education and several of the others didn't.
We had a lot of family that would come to see him, and it was fun because they would come and the cousins would come and we'd get to see them.
Of course, he worked on me many a time, and I don't know whether he never used Novocaine on me. I know that he would work on a tooth, and he would drill and drill and drill and pack it with filling, and sometimes it was a little painful, but the filling stayed in. So
he was good. He was careful and patient with us, and even if we were scared and we didn't want to go, he was good.
In addition to his patients, Dr. Adams devoted himself to his church, New Bridge Baptist. The church was located on 9 Mile Road when Dr. Adams was a loyal member and leader. Now the building serves as a preschool learning center and meeting space for Henrico County Public Schools.
Dad was a devoted Christian. He believed in the Lord, and he participated in the church. And Dad supported the church both physically and financially, and he was on numerous committees at different times.
He was a deacon, and he felt it was just very important to have church in their lives. Both of our parents felt that way, and he cared about people, and he cared about their lives. And he visited people who were sick or people who couldn't get out. I remember going with him on visitation. I guess he was trying to train me to do the same thing. He would take me along to visit sick people and those who couldn't get out. Or maybe somebody who hadn't been coming to church for a while that he wanted to encourage to come back.
Between his dental practice and church, Dr. Adams became a trusted member of the community. In June 1945, he was approached about serving on the Henrico School Board when the death of Fairfield District Representative Holmes Turner created an open seat. Dr. Adams would serve 18 years on the board and as its chairman in 1960.
I know on the Board of Supervisors, a gentleman by the name of Tony Mayford, I think, talked Dad into being on the school board, but of course my sister and I, we were in the Henrico County school system, and Dad had a passion for education and wanting, of course, my sister and I to learn to get all the education that we could, and I'm sure it was a civic duty, and he just wanted to, give back to the community. He didn't talk about it a whole lot, but I know he went to a lot of meetings and things. He was really involved with it, and I'm sure he took pride in working for for the county and the school board.
That was important, to be able to give back to the community and to do whatever you could to make the education system better for the young people of the community.
Dr. Adams served during a period of significant growth and change for Henrico County Public Schools. From 1945 to 1963, Henrico opened 30 new schools, about 3 every 2 years, including Tuckahoe, Lakeside, and Baker Elementary, Moody, Tuckahoe, and Brookland Middle, and Freeman, Varina, Tucker, and Henrico High. But for the Adams family, the opening of a new Highland Springs High hit closest to home.
The new Highland Springs High School, first, it was opened in '52, and our class was the first class to go all 5 years through the school, and we were the first graduating class. And it was exciting to have a new school and to be able to enjoy it.
Coach Saul told me that Dad was, of course, he was on the school board, and that he was instrumental in buying the property behind the school that the current stadium, the Victor W. Crider Stadium, is on today, and that Dad had a big hand in the county purchasing that.
The high school's athletic facilities became an important place for the Adams family. Jake excelled in sports, going on to play football at Virginia Tech. Cheering from the sidelines was his father, once a capable athlete in his own right. Dr. Adams became one of Highland Springs' biggest sports boosters, using his own money to buy trophies for the athletes.
My father, in his younger days, he played baseball, and he was a pretty good baseball player from what I understand, and he just loved athletics, and I think he got some sense of accomplishment out of furnishing the trophies for some of the different athletes and things. And as a senior, well, a junior and a senior at Highland Springs High School, I won several other trophies, and of course Dad didn't know it, but he was furnishing me this trophy that I'm really proud of. I'm sure if he was still living today, he would also be very proud that I won this trophy.
Between the dental practice, work on the school board, football, and Nancy's engagement, these were hectic but happy times for Dr. Adams and his family. Sadly, it came to an abrupt end. On December 5th, 1963, Dr. Adams suffered a heart attack and died at his home. He was 54 years old.
This is my wedding album, and it's really important because these are the last pictures we had taken of our dad. We got married on June 29, 1963, and my dad died on December the 5th, 1963.
I was home, I think, for 4 or 5 days after that, and it was really a sad time. We had 2 nights of visitation, and then we had the funeral at Newbridge Church, and it was really a crowd really came. Dad was well thought of in the community, and of course throughout the county. Being on the school board, there were a lot of the school people, representatives from the school board came, and it was a real nice service. Of course, it was a sad service.
It was just very heartwarming to see that people cared.
Soon after, the community sought to recognize the dentist whose work had generated so much affection and so many smiles. In 1967, Henrico opened Jacob L. Adams Elementary School on Laburnum Avenue.
The one thing my sister and I are really proud of is the elementary school over on Laburnum Avenue, which is named after my father, Jacob L. Adams Elementary. And of course, I think in May of '68, they had the dedication ceremony, and they invited my mother and my sister and my brother-in-law, and my wife and I came, and it was a real nice ceremony, and a lot of people were there, and of course, we were really proud of it.
We were young, and it was just exciting to see that happen for our dad, because he had put a lot of time into the school board, and we felt that it was a great honor for him. I think he would like that, having his name on a school.